This is a story for Reggie, age 6, who's challenged me to write a story with the words Santa, train, tree, swimming, butterfly, and dandelion. Well, that's some good words, isn't it? It was the middle of the summer holidays, and for just once, it wasn't raining. In fact, it was a really hot day, and the sky was blue, and there were a few fluffy clouds, but that was about it. So Mum decided that she was going to take the two children, Reggie and his sister, down to the beach. So she loaded up a couple of bags with useful stuff that they might need, and a cool box with things for lunch in it, and some snacks, and then tried to round up the children. But trying to round up Maggie and Reggie was quite a difficult task sometimes. Reggie was watching a film, or at least a cartoon on Netflix, all about a tree that could talk. He thought it was an absolutely rubbish film, but as soon as he knew Mum wanted to do something and go somewhere, of course he had to finish it, and got quite stroppy if he couldn't watch the rest of it. Mum went off instead, saying, "You've got to turn it off at the end of this one," to go and find Maggie. Maggie was in the garden. She'd been picking dandelions and was standing there with a dandelion head trying to blow off all the seeds, and wouldn't come in until all the seeds had gone. Eventually, Mum managed to drag them in, get them into the car, and make sure they had their swimming costumes with them. When they arrived at the beach, they took the two bags and the various bits and pieces, and Reggie helped Mum to put up the little tent that they were going to use to have a bit of shade and somewhere to change. The beach was quite crowded. There were a lot of people around, and there were windbreaks and things like that around, as well as little tents. Windbreaks, those peculiar canvassy wall things with four poles that stick into the sand. The one right next to Reggie and his sister and his mum had a pair of pink feet sticking out the bottom of it. They were quite hairy and slightly thin legs. He thought no more about it, and Reggie started to build his sandcastle using the buckets and spades and things that Mum had produced from one of the bags. His sister wanted to spend too much time knocking down the sandcastles that Reggie was trying to build, and Reggie was getting a bit cheesed off, especially as he wanted to do a special one with a tunnel in it that he could run his toy car along. Mum distracted Maggie by giving her an ice lol from the cool box, and Reggie carried on. Whilst he was building the sandcastle, he noticed that there was a peculiar noise. It got louder and it got louder, and it was coming from the owner of the pink feet behind the windbreak. Went the noise. Then after a few seconds it happened again. Reggie felt he just had to look. So he crept over to the windbreak, knelt up and peered over the top of it, and there on the other side was an enormously fat man lying flat on his back. He had a pair of bright red swimming trunks with little white strips ran around the top of it, and the words "Happy Christmas" written on them. His tummy was really, really big, and it went up and down as the man breathed. As he looked further at the body, there was his head with a huge white bushy beard and huge white bushy hair. And on the end of his nose sat a butterfly. And every time he breathed in, the butterfly was sucked towards the man's mouth. Reggie was really afraid that the butterfly was going to disappear into it. And every time he breathed out, the butterfly would take off slightly, and then it would land again. It was getting perilously close to being sucked into the man's mouth. "What are you doing?" said Mum. "Stop looking over people's windbreaks. They won't like it." Yes, but there's a man here and he looks like he's going to swallow a butterfly. He's very pink, said Reggie. It's not good to be pink on the beach, said Mum. He ought to be wearing ought to have some suntan lotion on. Reggie said, "Excuse me." He couldn't resist, trying to wake the man up. The man looked around. He went, "Oh, ho, 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 ho. What is it? What is it? What is it, Daddy?" "I just wanted to say that you've got a butterfly on your nose and I thought you might swallow it. And also, you're very pink. Would you like some sun cream?" And the man looked at himself. He said, "Oh, yes, I'm not very used to doing this. It's my summer holiday," he said. "Usually where I am, it's very cold." Reggie said, "Where are you from?" "Ah, from the North Pole," said the man. "Though some people say I come from other places. My name's Santa. How do you do?" "Oh, I'm Reggie," said Reggie, and he handed across the suntan lotion that he'd got from Mum. And Father Christmas, Santa, spread the suntan lotion all over himself so that he wouldn't sunburn anymore. "Well, thank you very much, young man, for helping me out, and thank you for saving that butterfly too. I should not have liked to have swallowed it. What would you like for Christmas?" And Reggie said, after thinking about it, that he'd really, really, really like a train set. Perhaps one that went really fast, that could go underneath tables and chairs and things. And Santa said that he'd see what he could do. And that was the story of Reggie and Santa and the words.